I'm on a quick trip to Florida and decided that instead of driving my 2014 Accord this time, I would fly, kind of give that a break and just rent a car when I got here. And that car is this 2017 Acura ILX. Of course, a car this old, if you will, would not be available in like a fleet. So this is from Turo. I decided that I did want to rent something that was a Honda product of some sort. Clearly, I'm a brand loyalist. Every car that I've personally owned has been a Honda or Acura product, so I figured I would continue along that trend. This will be a really quick video, just a quick overview of some things that I've noticed that I like and don't like so much. This was the first refresh of the Acura ILX. One came in 2016, and I want to say the next one was in 2019. Of course, this car has now been replaced altogether by the Integra. This shares a platform and stuff with the 9th gen Honda Civic. Of course, that was the generation of Civic that got a whole lot of criticism from both consumers and critics alike. Nonetheless, this Acura ILX isn't too bad of a car. This one is the 2.4. I want to say when they refreshed it in 2016, they got rid of the 1.5 hybrid as well as the smaller displacement 2-liter. So this one has the K24. They also did get rid of the 6-speed manual after the 2015 model year. So this one has the 8-speed DCT. I'll share more on that in just a second. So it's honestly been a while since I've driven a Honda with the 4-cylinder. The last would have been my own previous 2014 Civic Si, which had the same engine as this car. And I will say, in driving this car, I've been kind of reminded why I decided to get rid of my 2014 Si and go back to my Accord. And it's just because by nature of being a compact car, it is a whole lot smaller. So it's kind of a fish out of water experience to be back in something of this size. And as I give the car a second to kind of warm up, I'll talk about the transmission. The DCT was praised when it first came out for being one of the smoothest offerings, and people really gave Acura credit for the fact that it was their first time doing a DCT, and they were still able to do so well. This particular one does have a torque converter, which is unlike most DCTs, and the benefit of that is at slower speeds, there are some smoother transitions between gears as opposed to the jerking and stuttering that you'd get in those DCTs without a torque converter. Now, that being said, this is a 2017 model year, so we're about 7 or so years after this car would have been brand new, and I can say that the DCT is not the smoothest anymore. In certain conditions, it jerks and even stutters, just like some of those less reliable or less favorable options would have done back when these cars were new. For the most part, though, it's not bad. I know that I would not necessarily want to own one myself. I think the ILX was a really nice car for what it was. Of course, building off of the 9th gen Si or the 9th gen Civic in general, it didn't have the best foundation, but I feel like they made it a little bit more upscale. Getting rid of the 6-speed manual option, of course, it probably wasn't the best in terms of sales, but I think that kind of hurt the appeal of the car even more than it already was. Nonetheless, we'll do a quick drive. Hopefully the transmission does not do the things that I mentioned, but in the case that it did, it would allow you to see what I was talking about. I guess one thing I can't appreciate is the fact that this car does have paddle shifters. That's something that I've complained about the 6-speed automatic in my Accord E6 not having. I haven't used them much at all. I mean, it's a rental car and I don't want to mistreat anyone else's property, so. And I can't say for the most part the shifts are quite what you would expect from a DCT. The last car that I actually drove myself with a DCT before this would have been my sister's old 2013 Dodge Dart, and that kind of speaks for itself, so I wouldn't even speak more on that. But again, it's pretty good. So far, it hasn't done any of the jerking or stuttering that I mentioned, so I guess that's a good thing. I'll drop it down into its sport mode very quickly, and again, I'll let the car do the shifting itself. We're not going to bother with the paddle shifters at all. I think it's one noticeable thing while I park it again. The transmission, aside from just shifting as you're driving, the transition between, let's say, park and reverse, for example, or reverse and drive, there's a little bit of a hesitation. It's honestly a couple of seconds worth of hesitation, and I'm not sure if that's this one specifically or that's just how the car was programmed in general. Nonetheless, I figured I would just give you a quick look at, again, this 2017 Acura ILX. Again, it's worlds better than the 9th Gen Civic, but you can definitely tell that that's where the car is rooted at, and it does have its shortcomings. This one has just over 140,000, so not too far off from my 2014 Accord V6. Again, not a bad car at all. Would I own one? As much as I am, again, loyal to Honda and Acura products, I wouldn't say the ILX would be an option for me personally. The 2019 refresh that they did, the A-Spec model of that one actually was pretty nice. But after driving one and experiencing what that powertrain combination would have been like, again, don't necessarily think it's for me. A 2013 to 2015 with a K24 and 6-speed, so essentially in a 9th Gen Civic Si with a bow tie on, I think that one might be a more favorable option that I actually would consider. Nonetheless, thanks for watching. There aren't too many updates on either one of my own personal cars. The 6.6 has honestly been sitting quite a bit, ironically, because it got service and tires and stuff like that recently. But my 2014 again is my daily driver, so that kind of sees the road a whole lot more. But as soon as I do have an update, I'll make sure to record it and post it. I appreciate your support. Have a good one.